Om. 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 Sai Ram. Just to recollect where we were last week. So we're studying the Sathya Sai Vahini. I think we are in chapter 6. Swami had been, sort of slowly building up the foundation for what he's trying to teach us. At the moment, he is talking about the basic concepts in Sanatana Dharma, Bharatiya Paramartha, and he's also sort of contrasting how the Eastern traditions look within, whereas the Western traditions look outside in search of the truth. And Swami also discussed the characteristics of Atman, Parishuddha, Paripurna, and so on. So those are some of the concepts which we discussed last week. I think we did not completely do full justice to studying that portion which we had read. So I'll ask sisters to read again where we were and continue our discussion and study. Saira.
Sorry, so I will just, you wanted to read the previous paragraph, right?
Whatever we read last week.
Okay.
Yeah, so sorry, because I think, we just sort of rushed through. We'll just read it once and
Yeah.
if there's anything which anyone would like to say.
We shall now come to the foremost among the glorious truths, the most astounding of the basic truths that the human intellect has attained in the spiritual field. The Atma is, by its very nature, purity, fullness, and bliss. Parishuddha, Paripurna, and Ananda. This is the belief that animates all schools of thought, whether they are worshippers of Shakti or Shiva or Vishnu, or whether they are Buddhists or Jains. Every Hindu acknowledges it. The Dvaitins, dualists, believe that the fundamental, genuine nature of the Atma is Ananda. This is diminished and desiccated by the consequences of human actions in life after life, and therefore has to be restored and revitalized by the grace of God. The Advaitins, monists, believe that there can be no diminution or desiccation. They assert that the Atma is fully splendorous. Only through the influence of the deluding effect of ignorance, Maya, which superimposes false impressions on what is really true, it appears as if it has diminished. Whatever may be the differences in interpretation, when we take our stand on the central core of the truth on which we all agree between the East and the West, there will be discerned a vast, deep passage where both do journey to the goal. The people of the Eastern countries seek in the inner regions of their selves the realization of this gloriously beneficent consummation. While worshiping, we close the eyes and endeavor to visualize God inside ourselves. People of the West lift up their faces and visualize God in outer space, in the beyond. They believe that their scriptures have been recorded by persons under the direction of God. Bharatiyas believe that the Vedas, their sacred scriptures, were the very breath of God, conveying meanings to the sages who had installed Him in their hearts.
Thank you very much. So I think we touched on most of the aspects last week. Swami has, talked about, Swami's introduced how Dvaitins and Advaitins also deal with this. He had also included the Buddhists and the Jains. If anyone would like to discuss any of them. And as you can see that there's no diminution and desiccation. That we looked at. That which is pure can never become impure. That it's capable of giving purity to everything it touches. It gives completeness to everything it touches. And Swami also in the first two sentences is saying that's the highest spiritual truths with the human intellect is capable in the spiritual field. That also Swami's touches. So I thought quite a bit Swami has packed in these two words, two paragraphs. So I will stop here. If anyone would like to comment or share anything, Saira. Yes, Sister Vani, please go ahead.
Sairam, brother, I came across a word called Vishishta Advaita this week. Do you remember? So, what is the distinction of Vishishta Advaita between? Is it something in between Dvaita and Advaita?
Sairam, it's just a good question. Yes, it is. You can say it is something between Dvaita and Advaita, but I will let others also share their thoughts. I don't know, Vani Auntie, Sai Satish, any others, anyone. I don't want to put anyone in spot. Please, I will let anyone share their thoughts, please. Saira, Auntie, will you share something or?
These are different schools of thought: Dvaitins, Vishishtadvaitins, and Advaitins. These three important schools of thought existed, thinking that in different way what the creation and what God is. Dvaitins believed that God is different, I am different. I am going in a very brief manner, not in detail. And Vishishtadvaitins believed that we are a part of the God. We are an amsha of that Supreme Lord. And but we are not separate. We are in Him as a part. And Advaitins believe there is no such thing as that we and God are one. That is Advaitins. I'm giving it in a very brief manner. I hope further Aruno can explain.
So thank you very much, Auntie. Anyone else? I'll put Sai Satish on the spot. This is something which they study, I guess, as part of integrated education. Sai Satish, you want to share anything or compliment?
Yeah, sure, Anna. So again, based on what was discussed and what Auntie also mentioned, I think we talked about Hanuman as the best example of showing literally all the three stages of what is all the three schools of thought, where when he said Deha buddhyastu dasoham, at the level of the body, I am your servant, which clearly showed that there was the master and there was the servant, which is Dvaita. And Jiva buddhyastu tavevaham, at the level of the Jiva or the individual. Sorry, Anna?
I think Twadamshaka, I think.
Twadamshaka, okay.
Sorry.
Yes, Anna. Thank you for that. Twadamshaka, in the sense that I am a part of you. So in this case, there is this Jivatma and there is Paramatma, but nevertheless, the Atma at that level is, so it's more like looking at qualified non-dualism, which is Vishishta Advaita. And it is based on Advaita, but at still it sees a level of individuality coming. That is where you're still part of the whole, but the part exists. And that is where the differentiation with the whole is seen. And of course, Advaita is completely at the realm of the Atman, where there is only the one and the only one that manifests as many, but it's always the one that exists. So sometimes we can also possibly look at it in a way where Dvaita, though all the three schools of thought are connected with the Atman, but one can be grounded more at the level of the body, one can be grounded more at the level of the mind, and another is grounded completely on the Atman. So that can also be used for the three schools of thought. And in the case of qualified, it is qualified non-dualism. So it is non-dual, but still it is qualified in the sense because it is having qualities, attributes, and things coming into place. It is showing a bit of the differentiation that exists. Saira.
Thank you very much, Sai Satish. Swami has spoken about this in many discourses. Swami, as Sai Satish has already spoken about how Hanuman, explained. Swami also tells, Jesus said, "I am the servant of God," or messenger of God. Then he said, "I am the son of God," which Swami says it's something like Vishishtadvaitam. I have the godly nature, but I am son. And then the final stage is I and my father are one, Swami says, So it's also the light is in me, I am in the light, and the light and I are one. Also that Swami has said. In another discourse, Swami says, Dvaitam is something like there's a big circle which is God, and there's a small circle next to it, which is attached to it, but it's outside the big circle. That Swami says Dvaitam. Then Vishishtadvaitam, the circle outside is inside the big circle. It's still, it's a small circle, but God is a big circle. So that means I'm inside the circle, but I am still different, which is Vishishtadvaitam, because you have qualified yourself. In the Advaitam, there is nothing exists except the big circle. They think everything is within that. I think that's because some of these schools of philosophies came out, though it was these thoughts were always present. Shankaracharya came and re-established and explained what is Advaita. Then Ramanujacharya came around and he sort of expounded on Visishta Advaita, which is the qualified non-dualism, but still there is some differentiation. And the third one is Madhvacharya, who came and explained what is Dvaitam. And Swami would say all of them are describing the same thing in the way they perceived and the way certain devotees can understand and appreciate and relate to. So that's, I hope, Sister Vani, that helps.
Yeah, thank you, brother. That's clear.
So Swami is touching them, that here Swami has not mentioned Visishta Advaita, but Swami is touching on all these philosophies and how they view the Atman. And, as you can see, Advaitins say the Parishuddha will never be different. It's always the same. Whereas Dvaitin think there is some problem which can take place and then it's, changed, in the human being is actually diminished in their divinity. God's grace is needed and things like that. So I'm just touching upon all of them. Saira.
Saira Manu,
Yes, Auntie.
how can these Dvaitins say that, the genuine nature of Atma, which is Ananda, it can come down, it can be diminished. They know that creator is different and creation is different. When they know that, how can the sudden Ananda becomes diminished, Saira?
So, Auntie, I think the Ananda diminishes in the jivas. Even though we are Atman, Dvaitin believes we are deficient because of our karma. So, to overcome that effect of karma, we need the grace of God. So they think as individuals, we are papis, we have, sinned, we are fallen, and, God's grace has to give it back to us. But Swami would say, no, no, you are that. You have just forgotten that you are that. That's the way Advaita philosophy says. Advaita philosophy says there's nothing to give you. You're already full, but you're forgotten or you're deluded into thinking that you are. Swami will say, Shrinvant Vishwe, Amritasya Putra. You're all children of immortality. I think in that sense. But Dvaitins believe we have lost something, and we are deficient. But Dvaitins, that's the feeling of Dvaitins.
Sai Ram. Thank you.
But I think the diminution is nothing to do with God. It's about us. I think
It's about us.
about us. I think that's my understanding.
But genuine nature of the Atman is Ananda. This is diminished and desiccated.
Yeah. So we ourselves, say, we need Swami's help, To that extent, all of us are also Dvaitins only. Because so God, Swami has to come and help. And nothing wrong with it, I think, but Swami will say, I had to just show you that you are the lion cub, type of thing.
So by the human actions, by the consequences of our human actions, God's Ananda has diminished. Atma's Ananda.
Our Ananda.
No, he has written here, genuine nature of the Atman is Ananda. This
Yes.
is diminished and desiccated by the consequence of human actions.
So we are also Atman. But we don't realize that. We think we are deficient. I think Swami is not referring to the Paramatman. The Dvaitics have the concept of Jivatma and Paramatma.
Yeah.
So we are Atman, but we are Jivatman.
Jivatma.
Yeah. So I think that here the Atma is the Jivatma, because Dvaitins think that we are different. I think that's so. I don't think anyone is questioning the Paramatman. I think even the Dvaitins don't think that.
The translation is little misleading.
Exactly, Auntie. Exactly. I think we can read the Telugu and see. I think let's.
Yeah,
I know what you're mentioning.
Yeah, correct. Dvaitulu Atma యొక్క నైసర్గిక ఆనందము పురాకృత కర్మఫలముగా సంకుచితమైననియు ఈశ్వరానుగ్రహ లబ్ధి వలన అది మరల వికసించుననియు అతలంతురు. ద్వైతులు ఆత్మ యొక్క నైసర్గిక ఆనందము. Our basic nature is Naisargika Anandam of Atma, he says in Telugu also, Swami says.
Yes, so I think because once the word Ishvara comes, the Paramatman is considered the Ishvara, and we ourselves as the Atman, ourself, little self. I think that's the way I would take it.
It's Naisargika mean?
Naisargikanandamo, natural happy bliss.
Sarga means, something inherent, which is born with us, type of thing, inherent, I think. Auntie,
Solution. Correct. So the word Atma Yokka Naisargikanandamu, that is translated as Dvaitins believe that the genuine nature of Atma is Ananda. As you say that we have to take it as individual Atma, not Paramatma. Sometimes Atma is referred both.
Yes.
Atma is also different.
So
inborn, innate, inherent. Yes, Kalyan.
Okay. So even the Dvaitins, even though they believe they're a small circle next to the big circle, they still believe that they are Atma.
Exactly. They still believe we are an Atman. We are born again and again. We are bound by karma. And we need God's help to free ourselves from that. Basically, how all of us feel. So Advaitam is very difficult for us to grasp, but I think Dvaitam should be very easy for all of us to understand.
Of course, we are following Dvaitam's words.
Because we think Swami is different, we are different. We are all stuck. We need Swami's help. So that's what we feel. And Swami will say, you are Atman, and you think you're powerless, you're weak.
Yeah,
You
like
know, that's what Swami is saying. We are thinking we are weak. Swami says you are not. Just realize that you are divine. I think that's the whole purpose of Swami's coming down. So I think there's nothing wrong, because we are praying, we need grace of Swami. Pray for us, pray for them, all that we do, because we all never approach Dvaitins. Sorry, I should not generalize, but I feel that's my experience.
So, I mean, because that's very similar to feeling that you're a part of God, because they also think that they're Atma. So what's the difference between Dvaita and Vishishta Advaita? Because
See, the one who thinks they're part, they will never feel God is distant. Do we feel that Swami is distant? Do we feel disconnected with him? That's what matters. The one who is a Vishishtadvaitin knows that I am part. At no point he feels distant. Okay, so Dvaitins feel distant.
Dvaitins will feel distinct. There can never be a union of that created and creation. That's what Dvaitins believe. There can never be union. If I'm
Yes, and eternally we are separate.
it's a separate thing. That's what they cannot be in. They cannot be in Paramatma. They maintain their distinct nature.
so in Advaita philosophy, then what's the ultimate goal? Isn't it still moksha? And
Yeah.
but doesn't at that point they become one, or what?
They believe in Laya, merger, but they don't realize how they will attain Laya. They think God will somehow, make us Laya. Okay. Whereas Swami will say, you cannot have Laya, you cannot merge unless you become like me. See, which Dvaitins lack at that in their understood perception. Okay. It's like, we close our eyes and hope that everything becomes right. Okay. Because we don't want to even try. That's the problem with Dvaitin. They will just pray for God's grace, which is also okay, God will take, it's like a baby. A small baby will, what will happen to the baby? He'll cry. I don't see my mother, they'll cry and they wait for the mother to come and take them.
Markatanyaya, Marjananyaya, I think that applies here.
Yes. Okay, like their kitten, it just mews, it doesn't make any effort. It doesn't think that it has a cat. Okay, which is reality. When you are a kitten, you are a kitten. But one day the kitten doesn't know that it can become a cat. But the kitten will grow into a cat. So it's Dvaitins can be, somebody. They need somebody's help. They think we are powerless. That kind of thing.
The cat will definitely carry the kitten in its mouth, and then definitely it sees that it's safe. And so also, I think, if I'm not wrong, the Dvaitins believe that. Surely God will take care of us. That's.
But they also don't have doubt the Paramatman's quality, Parishuddha, Paripurna.
Yeah, of course.
That they always believe. So you can say even some of these Western religions have a certain Dvaitin, they all fall under the Dvaiti character only. Because they think God has to come and save. The heaven is somewhere very far away where God is staying. Things like that.
I think we were saying, but because of that big chasm that Swami is saying between East and West, is it that they don't even believe that there's something divine within?
I think the Western thing, they do not accept the divine nature of the Atman, individual Atman. Okay, whereas Dvaitins generally feel that we are also created by God and we are also an Atman, but we are bound because of our karma. So I think there's a slight subtle differentiation in how they perceive themselves. So number one. Number two, Dvaitins do not necessarily think that the body is God. Okay. Body is something which we are wearing, whereas we are Atman. Whereas if you look at the Western concept, they think the body is ourself. There's absolutely no, see, even today when we were discussing, they bury the dead body because thinking that one day the dead body will become alive, resurrect itself into divine nature. That is the belief. And if they think if you are burnt, then you cannot be resurrected because you are burnt to the divinity, your body, yourself. So that is the belief of the West. So they give primacy to the body. Okay, they even don't have a concept of mind, though that some things are there. They don't understand the concept of the mind the way Eastern philosophy has understood. They have something called a soul, which they are not very clear because even the soul has departed. They don't know what is that soul. They don't even think that the soul is yourself. They think the body is you. So there are some fundamental, differences in how they perceive who an individual is. Whereas the Dvaitins don't give bodies that much importance. They still believe in an Atman, but an Atman which is become diminished during karma. I think that's some difference. Okay, so that's chasm. Okay. See, so Swami is explaining all this so that we know where we have to go in terms of progress. Swami talks about Advaitam, Vishishta Advaitam, Dvaitam, Western concepts, Christianity, other religions, because telling them this is what you all are doing and this is where you have to progress towards. And Swami will say the Bharatiya Paramartha is the final goal for everyone. I think that's what Swami is trying to drive home. Just because we are born in a particular religion, that's okay. But as long as we know from there how we grow, that's why in the earlier chapters, Swami said there is good, better, and best. Nothing is bad, but there is good, better, and best. We need to know how we grow and become better. I think so. Okay, so if everyone is, I don't know whether it's too much intellectual analysis, but I think we can continue because I thought, see, if Swami has said that we should understand very clearly what Swami has is trying to teach us. Even if we don't fully grasp it, I think we should make attempts. That was the reason. So yes, Auntie.
Nothing.
Okay, so if we can, I think we can proceed further if no one has anything to discuss.
There is another point which we have to understand. We have to hold fast to it always. Unless a belief is held unshaken throughout day and night, it cannot be used to achieve victory. No success is possible otherwise. When a person asserts that he is low and mean and that he knows but little, he becomes low and mean and his knowledge shrinks. We become what we believe we are. We are the children of Almighty God, endowed with supreme power, glory, and wisdom. We are children of immortality. When we dwell in this thought, how can we ever be low and ignorant? Bharatiya spiritual culture enjoins on everyone to believe that the real nature of man is supreme and that he should ever be conscious of this truth. The Bharatiyas of the past ages had faith in their great reality. They achieved victory in their endeavors as a result of this faith and rose to lofty heights. They reached the peak of progress. we have slid down into the present decline, mainly because we have lost faith in the Atma in us. This was the beginning of our fall. For loss of confidence in the Atma or self involves loss of faith in God Himself. That omnipresence, that inner motivator of all, who is the warp and woof of our body and mind, our emotions and intellect. Strengthening faith in Him is the only means of realizing the highest goal of man. This is the lesson that Bharatiya spiritual history longs to teach.
Thank you, Kalya.
Sorry.
Auntie, we can read Telugu, I think.
మనము అవగత పరచుకోవలసిన విషయము మరొకటి కలదు.
There is one more thing which we have to hold fast to.
ఈ విషయమును గూర్చి మనము ఎప్పటికీ పట్టుపట్టియే ఉండవలెను.
This subject or this topic has to be always held fast to by all of us.
అది ఏదన తాను తుచ్చుడని రాత్రి పగలు తలంచుచుండువాడు దేని గాని తన జీవితంలో సాధింపలేదు.
What is it? Swami poses this question and then he answers. Whoever thinks that they are very little or small, insignificant, and they think that night and day they will not be able to achieve anything in their life.
Yeah. Another word for tucha you can use despicable.
Despicable, okay.
That's also despicable creature. So రాత్రి పగలు తలంచుచుండు వాడు దేనిని గాని తన జీవితంలో సాధించలేదు. He has not achieved anything. సాధించజాలడు.
He will be incapable of achieving. He will not achieve anything. He will be incapable of achieving anything.
తాను అధముడనియు అల్పజ్ఞాని అనియు తలంచువాడు అధముడు.
One who thinks that he's low is a lowly creature and he is ignorant or he has very little knowledge. Such a person will always be a lowly person.
అల్పజ్ఞానిగానే అగుట సత్యము.
To become ignorant or not knowing anything is Satyamu auntie is.
He is sure to become.
Is sure to become.
మనము ఎట్లు తలచిన అట్లు అగుదుము.
However, whatever we think, we become that.
మనము ఆ శక్తి సంపన్నుడైన పరమాత్మ బిడ్డలము.
We are all children of the Paramatman who is endowed with all the powers.
ఆ అమృత పుత్రులము అని తలంచాలి.
We should think that we are the children of immortality.
నిజముగా అమృత పుత్రులైన మనము అల్పజ్ఞులు ఎట్లా అగుదుము?
In reality, those who are the children of that supreme immortality or nectar, how can we become people of small knowledge, less knowledge?
తుచ్చులు ఎట్లా అగుదుము?
How can we become very little? As Auntie said, how can we become despicable?
ఇట్టి ఉన్నత స్థితిలో మనము తలంచుట మానవ సహజత్వమని భారతీయ పరమార్థం ప్రబోధించినది.
So the supreme principles of Bharatiyas taught us that we should naturally think that we are of supreme nature, of supreme state.
పూర్వపు భారతీయులు ఇట్టి విశ్వాసమునే కలిగి ఉండేవారు.
In the past, in ancient times, the Bharatiyas had this kind of faith.
ఈ విశ్వాసముతోనే సర్వకార్యములందు దిగ్విజయము సాధించిరి.
With this belief and faith or confidence, they were able to achieve success in every endeavor.
ఉన్నత స్థాయిని చెందిరి.
They attained supreme state.
పురోభివృద్ధి గాంచిరి.
They achieved great growth. Evolution auntie,
Abhiruddhi,
Abhivriddhi is growth,
growth,
development,
Purobhiruddhi, going on
continuously.
continuously getting that Purobhiruddhi Ganchiri. Atma Vishwasamunu కోల్పోవుట చేతనే ఈనాడు మనం ఇంతటి క్షీణ దశకు దిగజారితిమి.
Only due to giving, forgetting or losing this faith or confidence that we have reached this insignificant state today.
అదే మన పతనమునకు ప్రారంభము.
That was the beginning of our downfall.
ఆత్మవిశ్వాసము కోల్పోవుట అనగా దైవమునందు విశ్వాసము కోల్పోవుటే.
Losing the faith in our own self or losing self-confidence is giving up the faith in God.
ఆ సర్వవ్యాపి, ఆ సర్వంతర్యామి ప్రతి అణువునందును పడుగు పేకవలె నిలిచి నామము నిలిచి. Then I will start.
So this Lord who is all pervasive, who is all knowing, or indweller in everything, in every atom, he remains as a warp and woof.
నామము కాయములందు నిలిచి ఉన్నాడును, నమ్మకమును బలపరిచి.
In every name and form in body, he is present firmly. With that faith is strengthened.
మానవత్వమును పవిత్రము గావించుటే భారతీయ పరమాత్మ.
So with that firm faith to make one's life, one's human birth pure and divine, that is the principle, highest principle of the Bharatiya.
I think I should stop here.
Right, there was one line I didn't get. This Lord who is all pervasive, who is all knowing, who is the indweller in everything, in every atom he remains as
the warp and woof. Warp and woof means, the when
the length and the width of the cloth what we weave.
Yeah. When we weave a cloth, there are threads which go both ways. Okay, I think it's one of the songs in Kabir Das. He says, our body itself is made with Ramanam. The name of Rama, he becomes warp and woof because he's a weaver. So he sees the body was woven by the breath of the mother. With every breath, Rama became one, and it formed this entire body, like the way cloth is weaved. Woven, okay. So it's the same thing Swami is also repeating. Every atom is actually made by the Lord. He's the raw material with which it is woven. Every atom is woven with God.
Kabir sings that song, Jeeni Jeeni Re.
Exactly.
That's that song.
Yes. No, now the samas, something.
Yeah, no samas remaining in the womb of the
mother. Yes.
She was the one who
woved our body, which is actually made of only Ramanam. That we say. So it's a similar thing. So I mean, every atom has been woven with God. So that's.
In Telugu, padugu ante length.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Padugu.
So it's lengthwise and crosswise the threads are put. So that's what it is. See, the thing is, I think, Kalyani, you were asking about the West and, the East, the dualist. See, the Indian thought, everyone, whoever they pray to is considered the child of God. No one thinks that, this person who doesn't believe in the God which I pray to is doomed forever. So whoever it is, every piece of creation is considered the children of God and is being looked after by God. I think that's a very fundamental difference between Western thought and Eastern thought. You can pray to your gods, even the gods you pray to are different. You are not considered, you are outside the purview of God's grace. So that's another major difference in the dualist Dvaitins in Bharata and West. So going back to what we are saying, Swami wants us to day and night, or night and day, believe, that we are Atman. Only through that we can progress, Swami says.
I think in Prema Vahini, I think we had studied how Swami was saying how in one of the earlier chapters, how you should consider the faults of others as big or as small, and your own faults you should consider as big. So where does the humility and all of that come into play? Like, how do you think of yourself as supreme, but then also be humble at the same time?
Very good question. Kalyan is asking, so wouldn't this give rise to ego? I think that's the question. We will forget humility once we think we are God. Okay, we are divine. So I will just pose that question to everyone. What do you all think? So wouldn't this make our ego grow?
Sorry. If we have faith in the fundamental belief that all religions are leading to the same goal, then that feeling should not come. Swami has been advising all of us only to teach, let all religions also exist, and they let them also develop. And if we have that Swami's words, if we listen to Swami's words, we should not be making any kind of ego, inflation of ego, or mine is superior to yours. That feeling should not come. Maybe some people think that they are, because they belong to Hinduism, or because they are Brahmins, or they may think that they are great, but it is a wrong notion. Sai Ram.
Thank you very much, Auntie. Thank you. Sai Satish, please go ahead.
Sorry, Ramana. So when the literal meaning of self-confidence is Atma Vishwasam, and of course Atma Gauravam. So when Swami talks about being confident of us being children of immortality, it is being established in that Atmic nature, which is the personification of humility. So they say that the trees laden with fruits are the ones that bend the most. So that is where I think being established in that Atmic nature is endowed with the ultimate attitude of only humility and servitude. Hanuman, again bringing back the example of Hanuman, in terms of, we say, Buddhi Shakti Parakramam, everything like, even when we say that Buddhir Balam Yashodhairyam, that whole mantra, we say how Hanuman is the epitome of whether we tell at the physical level of the body, the might that he had, at the mental level, his prowess, even the way he speaks to Rama and Lakshmana for the first time when they come, and Rama tells Lakshmana that the way Hanuman speaks itself reveals his true scholarship, and after that only Hanuman reveals himself as who is. So at all that levels, he had all of it, but he was established in the complete realm of knowing his true nature with the Atman, and that's where I think it expressed as complete devotion, obedience, humility to Lord Rama. So they are two sides of the same coin of being established in the Atman, which gets reflected as complete humility and servitude. Because at the end, it's a package. Vidya dadati vinayam. So ultimately, the highest education confers absolute humility. So we are established in that knowledge that it is the same Atman in me which is reflected in everyone, and being established in that absolute truth only helps us become more humble and more in servitude of others. Actually, it's our own self, what we call as others.
Thank you, Sai Satish. Anyone else would like to share any thoughts? So in the absence of anyone else saying so, I will narrate a story which Swami says on this topic. So there was a guru, he was taking classes in Vedanta, and so in one of his classes, he told everyone that Tattvamasi, you are Brahman. You are this all-knowing Brahman. Always remind yourself that you are Brahman. So all the students said, okay, from today we will think that we are Brahman. So one of this student, he went to the market that day. He had to go, and while he was walking in the middle of the road. And as he was walking, there was one wild elephant rushing towards him. There was a mahout on top of the elephant who was trying to contain the elephant, but he was failing. He was just yelling to everyone, move, move, move. This elephant is wild, better to move. So this disciple was walking straight. And others around said, move, move. He said, I am Brahman, I am Brahman. Like that he was saying. When the elephant came to him, the elephant just grabbed him, threw him, and stepped on him. The fellow had a few bones broken, and the elephant went on. So this student had to be brought back with help back to the ashram. So he told his guru, you said we should always believe that we are Brahman, and I was practicing it today, and this has become my lot. So the Lord said, oh, you have practiced, but you didn't practice it fully. Because you should understand that the elephant is also Brahman. The mahout on top of the elephant also was Brahman. And people on the street around you were also Brahman. They were all talking about, telling you, and you didn't treat them as Brahman. You thought only you are Brahman, number one. Number two, second problem is you thought Brahman means the body is Brahman. The body is not Brahman, your Atman is Brahman. So whatever the elephant is, your Atman is still intact. Okay, the body is broken. So that's okay. So in the concept of when we think we are Amritasya Putra, we should understand that everyone around us is also Amritasya Putra. They are also equally divine, and they are also equally Atman. Only when we forget that our ego will. See, ego, humility, all these concepts come only when there are 2-3 people. I am better than the other. That person is worse than me. Or that person is better than me. I am worse than that person. All these thoughts come only when we forget that we are all Atman. So when we say that we are children of immortality, we are divine, we have supreme power, which is almighty. So that if we think we believe we are like that, everyone around us is also like that. We should equally believe that. Even if they are not believing in that, we should believe. And when we believe that, there's no question of humility, superiority, inferiority, nothing is there. That's my understanding. I hope that answers your question. Swami tells nice stories and explains these things. So I think when we think we are divine, we should think everyone else is around is also divine. They may not realize, but we should realize that they are divine. And I think that's sadhana we have to work on.
So specifically, what Swami is saying here is that we should not think that we have little knowledge. But if you think that you have a lot of knowledge, isn't that harmful too?
A good, very good question. Kalyani has some good questions. So how Swami says we should not think that you know little. I think that's what Swami say. If you think you know little, you will always remain that way. I think that's what Swami has said. So I think I will again pose the question: should we think we know little, or we know more, or we know everything? I think that's a question Kalyan is asking. So I think the problem is if we think we know everything, then we may not grow. Isn't that's a question from Kalyani? So that will become a pitfall for our own growth if we don't think we are Alpajnani. So I'll just clarify that, Alpajnana means it is not only not having the knowledge, we are incapable of knowing. Thinking I can't learn. That's an Alpajnana. It's not that, I don't, because the reality is in this world, all of us will know only very little because at the human level, we will know only little. But we should never think, oh, I can't study that. I am incapable of studying. Then we will never study. See, there are people who say, oh, maths is difficult. I can't study math. Swami has this tendency, people will ask, Swami, what should I do for my master's? Swami will ask, okay, what are subjects you studied? And they will say, Swami, math, physics, and chemistry. Then he will say, how many marks you got? They will say, maths I got 90%, or physics I got 90%, chemistry I got only 50%, things like that. Oh, I see. Oh, then you do masters in chemistry, Swami will say. Because, because the way Swami's advice works is completely counter to how normal, human people think. He says, if you're not good in one thing, you should work on that. So, Alpajnana is exactly that. I know little of chemistry, means Swami will say, okay, study chemistry. Okay. That means, Alpajnana means our effort to know we think is limited. Okay. It is not, I think so. Translation is a bit of a challenge. Nya is to know. Alpajna means I'm incapable of knowing more. I will get confused that, these concepts are beyond me. Swami does not give room for anything. If in primary school children, will talk some high philosophy, from Brahma Upanishads, he will talk. Okay. So it is like that. So Alpajna means one who is little intelligence. I think that's the way I would put it. So anyway, I will open up the question now, because I thought our translation and how it is translated here can be a bit misleading. Okay. Yes, Auntie Sakku, please go ahead. Auntie Sakku, we are incapable of listening to your silence. Understanding what we can't hear you, Auntie. You had to come down to our level and speak. Maybe you used the phone like last week. I don't know what happened. I think your sound is something issue with sound, Auntie. I think Auntie has to fix it and come. Anyone else has anything to share? Sairam Sister Shilpa. Sister Shilpa always types. This is the Atmic knowledge to remove darkness. He is talking about the knowledge at the spiritual level. Swami is talking about knowledge of the spiritual level. Thank you, sister.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, Auntie, yes. Please go ahead. Auntie, which we are not hearing, we just heard only one sentence.
Oh,
Now I can hear.
you can hear.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So the Jyotir means it's a true knowledge. When ignorance leaves and your knowledge becomes more true knowledge, then the humility will settle in. then there is no room for egoistic attitude. Because that is, can you hear me?
Yes, Auntie, yes, yes.
Yeah. So that is the, where it is not the bookish knowledge, it will be more into spiritually. You will get enlightened slowly and steadily, so that your you will understand all the truth about Atma, Brahma, Paramatma, your creation, everything you will come to know, and you will become more enlightened, but you will be humble person. You will not be developing an egoistic attitude. This is what I believe. I am sharing with you.
Thank you very much, Auntie. Thank you. Yes, Sai Satish.
Sir Ramana, this is what, like again, I think we had discussed this earlier also, how earlier when in Prashanti Mandir one day when the priest was chanting Papoham, Papa Karmaham, Papatma, Papa Sambhavam. I am a sinner, I'm born of sin, I'm like all of that. Swami changed it to Praptoham, Prapta Karmaham, Praptatma, Prapta Sambhavam. I am deserved. I am doing things that are deserved. I'm born because I am deserved, and all of that. So it clearly, based on what that thinking of being somebody who is despicable, who is at a low-lying state, how literally Swami transforms it into truly essencing that true nature. So it's on two sides. At one end, it should not be for alpa tripti, being very just seeking little, and at the same time, on the other end, where sage Bharadwaja goes for 100 years and again asks for 100 years and so on, of extension of the life to master the knowledge, because at the end of the day, it is Ananto Vedaha, so it is endless. So one cannot master it completely in terms of mastery on the external self. It's only becoming one with the absolute that will help them essence the totality of the knowledge. So I think that is where in this not condemning oneself and feeling lost, and at the same time just being happy with the little knowledge. It's being expansive in nature, and I think there's a Subhashita which says Vidyarthi Sukham Tyajet, and the one who is the seeker of education, for him there is nothing of seeking pleasure. It is only seeking the absolute knowledge. And for Sukharti, there is nothing, for one who seeks pleasure, there's nothing of seeking knowledge or wisdom. So in that sense, knowing that we are the children of immortality and embracing that, even making efforts, one is to feel deserved and strive towards knowing that absolute. I think that is where Swami is reiterating that if you are established in that confidence that we are that absolute, or Swami is with us or within us, then I think in terms of reaching that absolute also becomes possible, because the starting point itself, the origin itself, there is clarity, and so the destination also will fall into place.
Thank you, Sai Satish. Thank you. Anyone else would like to discuss anything? Yes, Sister Vani, please go ahead.
I have a question regarding, is it the Advaitins who believe realizing the highest goal is to realize faith, realizing the God within us? That is the highest goal for Advaitins. And for Dvaitins, most of us, I guess, think, we wanted to reach Swami's feet, and that is our goal to gain mukti. So there are two distinctions in that regard, right? Like, how we pray or how we ask or how we think. There is a distinction what the highest goal of ourselves. One way is to realize ourselves, which is realize that we are God. The other one is that we think, reaching God's feet. Is there another way to understand these two concepts?
I will first go. My understanding is similar, sister. Because at the Dvaitin, that's all we can conceive, that all we can grasp. So the Dvaitin will say, I want to reach God, I want to be at his feet and all that. I think the Dvaitins feel they are very near God, and with God, God will take care of everything. They don't necessarily have the idea that I will merge and become one with God. Those people tend to talk like that also in the Dvaitin philosophy. They never think that they have to grow into that. I think that's a difference, I also believe. Whereas Advaitins work on trying to erase themselves and merge in the Parabrahman. I think that's my understanding. Yeah, that what you have said is similar to what my view also understanding. I will open it up for others to share. Yes, Sister Shilpa, please go ahead.
Sairam, when we reach at the level that we are Advaita, all desires will be calmed down and we will be just feeling Him. We don't require anything now merging or nothing will left behind. That's it. Sairam.
Thank you, sister. Thank you. Anyone else would like to add? Yes, Satish, go ahead.
Ramana, I was just going to say, like, if it's more like even in Dvaita, I think it starts at the level of the body while they strive towards the Atman, whereas for a person in Advaita mode, it is being established in the Atman, they look at the body. So it is like which side of the shore they are on. For a Dvaita person, they are standing at the level of the body and looking at the other bank, which is like the Atman. While for the, I won't say for the Advaitan, like literally they're looking at the other bank because for them everything is the Atman. But I'm just trying to say that their frame of reference always start with the Atman, and with connection to the Atman, what is it that the Atman is dressing itself as? Is at what level? And so it is the Atman, which is the focal point for any discussion, anything that happens. It starts at the level of the Atman and then branches out into anything else that the Atman manifests. While for a Dvaitan, I think it starts with the level of the body and then I think it traverses from that point onward. So the focal point of how it is changes the course of the thought process and where they are established when and the journey that they have to take.
Thank you very much, Satish. I'm also reminded of another example which Swami talks about. Swami talks about two disciples of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Swami says there is Mahendranath. Mahendra, I think, was a disciple of Ramakrishna. He contrasts that with Vivekananda, another disciple of Swami Ramakrishna. Swami says the ego is the biggest problem for all of us. And both these disciples approached it slightly differently. Apparently, Swami Mahendranath, what he did was he made himself smaller and smaller and smaller, and then completely erased his ego. That was one way of erasing ego, and then he merged with the master. Vivekananda, on the other side, he expanded himself so much that this ego which was limiting was broken. So that means his individuality is expanded to that extent, covered to include everyone in this world. that also broke. So that's an expansion. It's a one way of breaking the ego, which is what the Advaitins do. They think I am divine, others are divine, everyone is divine, and that view outlook expands. And through that, they experience divinity. Whereas Dvaitin will say, I am small, I am at the feet of the Lord, at the feet of the Lord, and they also reach. So the thing is, ultimately, the approach is different, but the goal, the result is the same, Swami says. Both of them overcome ego. So Dvaitin also in that sense, they will say, I am at the feet, I want to be at the feet, I am dust, I am nothing, I am the dust of, I'm not even worthy of being the dust of the Lord, they think. But they think, even though they feel like that, because of the grace of God, they will become one with the Lord. And I think that's the approach for Dvaitins. But Swami will also say Dvaitins at some point before the merger, they will also reach the state of Advaita. Because Advaita means myself and the Lord are not too different. They will also reach. So I think it's just a matter of approach and based on our own state of, our characteristics, I would say, Sister Vani.
Thank you. That's very, very beautiful. Thank you.
Sorry.
In that approach, the person who thought that they were small and they also eventually reached God, how is that different from what Swami is saying here? How you should not, so someone who thinks they are small, they will ever be small.
So I think because yes, Sai Sathya, you raised a hand, please go ahead.
Anna, I was just going to add to what you said. That's why I raised my hand. Sorry. I was just going to say that when you said that Swami says that to escape from this chain that binds us, Hanuman said, Dasoham, Dasoham, Dasoham. And of course, in relation to the devotion. And so the chains got, he became so small that the chain could not bind. And other, I forget who's the devotee, but Swami says it is other is Soham, 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 and that breaks the chains. So one is the Dasoham, which completely erases the ego and makes the chains are, whether we call the chains of Maya, whatever the shackles are completely not able to hold the individual because there is nothing to hold. The I has become, the I has erased itself. In the small I meaning, so there is nothing to bind that jiva. And in the other case, the small I has become the capital I, that it is soham that it breaks the shackles. But I don't remember what example for the soham, but since you said that, yeah.
Okay, thank you. I think Swami is Vidyaranya is one person Swami talks about, but anyway, I will have to go back and refresh my memory. Yeah, but it's the same thing, it's Swami, this principle Swami has given different examples and explained. So going back to Kalyani's question, Kalyani, you asked, so Swami says we should not think we are small. Then how is this? Okay. The thing is, I think that's a subtle difference. See, Hanuman said Dasoham. He didn't say, I am not even worthy of being your Dasa. I am your servant. Okay, so to that extent, their linkage was very strong and the confidence in Rama was outstanding. Okay. Hanuman never said, oh, I am such a devote, I am so worthless that you won't even look at me. He said, I am your servant. So that itself gave him a lot of confidence. He at least, he was not about his ability, he did not think too much. He was so caught, Lord, I am your servant. Servant means whatever you do, I will do. Nothing is small. Okay. So they had total confidence in God. They had total confidence in their own devotion. So that is a type of self-confidence, so that also can lead you. A total surrender also has a way. There is this story of Shankaracharya's disciple Totakacharya, Auntie, tell the story. I am telling two stories.
Totkacharya was a Giri. I think his name was Giri.
No, people used to call him Giri because
Giri.
he's so dumb, like a dunce
Dumb.
boulder. You know.
He used to wash Guru's clothes and doing all the household chores. But one day when he called out to him, he was on the other bank, a river, on the other side of the river. And then when Shankaracharya called him, he just walked. Is he not the Padmapada?
Yeah, I mean, you can see, but sometimes the stories are interchanged, but yes.
He composes in a chandas that's called Totaka Ashtakam. The 8 slokas are about the Lord in a particular chandas who had no knowledge at all about Sanskrit. He did it. That's why he's called Totakacharya. That Shatpadi is called, that meter is called Totaka. And in Suprabhatam, Venkateswara Suprabhatam, Kamala Kuchachu Chukapum Kumato Nieta Runita Tula Nilatano Kamala Yetalochana Lokapate Vijayi Bhava Venkata Shailapate. That is set to Totakash Chatpadi, that chandas. That is one example which we can say that goes like that.
So the thing is, these devotees, they didn't lack any confidence. They felt they are small, but they didn't lack confidence.
Correct.
Okay, because the confidence stemmed from the fact they are under the care of the Lord.
Yeah.
Okay, so they never said, I am Papu, I am a sinner, this nothing. They say, I am at the feet of my Lord. That's more than enough. Let me be.
And I think this Alpagnani, when Kalini was referring to, see, maybe in secular knowledge, he may be Gnani, but he is lacking in the knowledge about the self. He has not even tried, and he thinks that he is incapable of thinking about the spirituality. So that is what you said also. Oh, that's true. But maybe he is very good at secular knowledge, but spiritually he is lacking so many things. That's why he calls, and Adhamudu, Telugu, I will read it to you. రాత్రి పగలు తాడు తుచ్చుడని తలంచువాడు దేనినే గాని తన జీవితంలో సాధించలేడు, సాధించజాలడు. తాను అధముడనియు అల్పజ్ఞానియు తలంచువాడు అధముడు. Here Swami is clearly saying that self-confidence, the lack of self-confidence, which makes a person adhama. I am very small, I am dissolute, I am very mean. Because of the lack of self-confidence. If we have that self-confidence, definitely we will get rid of that idea, and then we can become, rise higher and higher. Saira.
Thank you. There is the thing is, Swami is clarifying with all this discussion. Even our own understanding of what Swami is telling becomes clearer, because it's all about confidence in God. Their God is not going to help. I am so sad, so bad. Swami won't even look at. Swami doesn't like that kind of talk. So he says, have confidence that God is always taking care. God is within you. God is around you. In you, around you, above you, below you, that kind of confidence, faith, Swami says, is essential. And with that, we can accomplish anything.
Yeah, that's such a good point, Uncle, because like if somebody's really like the servant of, imagine like someone who's like the personal servant of Swami, they would think that, I mean, that would be a very elevated position, actually.
Exactly. But even, I am a security guard in the president's palace. Means these fellows will think, they'll walk as if they're president. There will be nobody there, but it gives certain level of confidence. I can speak to somebody, I can get things sorted. So all these people, they know that we don't have the knowledge, but they know that we know somebody who has the knowledge. We have the influence of them. I think that gives a lot of confidence. And they also feel with the help of those people we can achieve anything. That is confidence also, so it's indirect confidence, but in divinity.
Sairam, brother, one
Yes.
question. Yes, after this, all this discussion, so we cannot think a little, then we will strength means to overcome that. You mean the knowledge of faith or knowledge of devotion will help? That's the way we look at it.
Knowledge of devotion, sister?
No, the faith, and the faith and devotion help to bring the knowledge. Not you will not see as low or something like that. So how we are going to think that we have a lot of knowledge, because Swami says if you think little, then you become small, kind of, right? Low. So how we can think to see that, what base we can think to see that we have the knowledge, kind of. Just thinking after Kalyani's question, I'm thinking about that.
So I will ask Kalyani. Kalyani, you can explain, Kalyani, now. Kalyani, explain. What you understood, you can explain, Kalyani.
Wait, what was Aruna Auntie's question exactly?
She's asking, she's repeating your own question. She's saying,
Kalyani, what is your answer? What is your answer? You got it out of the discussion. That thinking of little knowledge, right? You shouldn't think like that, kind of. So now, how if you think that I know everything, kind of, then you will get into the you caught up in other side of it, right? So how to think that you have the knowledge, kind of, what is the answer you got it out of this discussion?
I think Uncle was explaining that alpajnana doesn't mean that you have little knowledge necessarily. It means you think that you're incapable of jnana, or the highest supreme knowledge. So I think having that kind of thought process, we're thinking that you're incapable of knowledge, that is what's harmful. So it's not that you think that you know everything, but you think that you're capable of knowing the highest.
So you have to seek for. That is the answer for gaining the knowledge, kind of.
That encourages
to
you
overcome that kind of feeling. I'm trying to understand what is the thing we have to we have to come out of that feeling. What we have to do, kind of, only. I'm just thinking to myself.
Aruna.
Yes, Auntie.
I think, when you're on that stage, you will work very hard to achieve that goal. You will rise higher and higher, and you will seek more knowledge, so that you don't want to be in that stage at all, adama, that I am the mean and low. That stage you want to get rid of. You will make all efforts to rise higher and then get rid of that stage.
Okay, that is the example Brother Aruna was talking about, the expanding. The Vivekananda was expanding himself to break the ego, to become one. Okay. I got it now. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam.
Sister Narmada?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify. So what you're saying is basically, I'm incapable of knowing versus I know little. So which means I know little, I need to know more. So which is like wanting to learn more and more. That's different from saying I can't and I'm incapable of learning, correct?
Yes.
So you're not saying I know enough, I know more, or I know everything. You're still being humble enough to say there's more to learn in this world. So you know little, that's okay. But you saying I don't know and I can't, I'm not capable is what you're referring to there, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
But Swami's words, I don't know whether that is the right way of saying. He knows, but little he becomes low. That's the one I was thinking about that. Now I can understand. So that is all. The thing is, we have to gain more knowledge to come out of that.
Yes, sister.
Thank
So
you.
it's like, it's when, say, if I go to school and, I don't know anything, nothing wrong with that because I have not read the subject, I have not learned it. Nothing wrong with not knowing something, but not attempting to know is a problem. Okay, that's
Not
ultimate.
attempting to know is the little knowledge.
Yes.
That is
That is
okay.
alpajnana.
That is the alpha jnana.
Alpajnana.
Okay,
Okay.
got it. Thank you, Sarah.
And I think, you see, there is something which always Swami says, there's something by knowing that you know everything. This is something which Swami always says. You should learn that one thing by knowing which you know everything. It's like, if you have if you have a father who can give you any money, even if you don't have, you don't have problem. When you want, you go and you get the money. So once you have God, who is the repository of your all knowledge, when you need something, you can reach out and he will give it. Because the reality is, no one can carry all this knowledge with them all the time because that becomes a burden. That becomes only scholarship. But having access to that knowledge is the most important thing. So access means you should be able to reach out and take when you need. So knowledge is also like that because whenever we need when encounter something in our life, when you need help, you have to go. Like, for example, you don't need to have all the medicines in the world stocked at home. But you need to know how to find a doctor who can give you the prescription or find a pharmacy where you can buy the medicine. So that much, if you know everything. Then if you say, I don't know, have a pharmacy, I don't have a place to go, and things like that, you will never have access to the medicine. So this alpajnana is saying, I can't, I want, type of thing. I will always be like this. I will never grow. That type of inferiority complex we should not have, is what Swami is saying. Nor should we have superiority complex. So the complex is a problem. But the thing is, Swami wants us to have confidence. There's God who we have access to, who is all knowing, all pervasive. Because of that, we are totally happy, totally content. That is full jnana. It's not that, I know every subject in this world. No, it is not that. And that when Swami says alpajnana, he is talking about, I am incapable, I am nothing, I am papi, sinner. That kind of thinking, if you think, Swami will say, you will always be that. And that's my understanding. I hope that answers your question. We should never say we know everything, but we have access to that repository of all knowledges.
So we are not supposed to say we know everything. At the same time, we are not supposed to say we know little.
Yes, we should strive to know more.
Yes.
As
Okay.
much as needed, we should know.
Yes.
You asked about knowledge of devotion. Yes, we should know how to be a devotee. If we are doing seva, we should know how to do seva. If you think, we know how to do seva, then it's a problem. So I think Swami, that's what Swami thinks. So that.
Sure. Thank you.
When we say that we know everything, then arrogance starts. Ego starts. That is not.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. And I don't have to make myself mean and low. I don't know anything. That also is wrong. And there are ways how you can progress in spiritual field.
So that low, when you are saying also, that tells you your laziness, tamas quality within you, right?
Yes.
So, okay. Thank you, Sarah.
See, it's like this. You want to taste the ocean. you don't have to drink the entire ocean. So you go and take a mouthful and you will taste the ocean. But if I say stand next to the ocean and say, I won't be able to ever taste the ocean, I can't do, then you will say you are not going to taste. You have to we can only take a mouthful. That's enough. We can't say I gulp the entire ocean like Agastya, that may never happen. But we can just take and taste. That much effort we have to put, and we should say, I have tasted the ocean. I have not filled and gulped the ocean. No, I think that's what Swami is referring to here. If we think we are incapable of, then we will always be incapable. So,
That's a good one, Swami has said. So it's so much encouragement and take out the laziness from everyone. Thanks, Sarah.
actually, it's not laziness, it's just excuse for our laziness. Yeah, yeah, that's right. Laziness only. Thomas. Okay, so it's 4:26. Anyone has, I think there's no point in reading another section. If anyone would like to discuss any point, please go.
One more sentence. When Swami's saying losing faith in our own self is giving up faith in God. Is that referring to because we say sometimes, we can't do anything without Swami. Like it's all Swami that's working. We wouldn't be capable of doing anything without his grace. And so when we say that self we're referring to is kind of our body and mind. So we may not have faith in our own body and mind and the strength of that. But here, when Swami is saying losing faith in our own self, that self is referring to the Atma. So we should not lose faith in the divinity within ourselves. Is that what Swami is saying here?
Yeah, I will ask others to. So nice question. See, how does losing faith in ourselves, losing faith in God? I think is the question from Kalyani. Sakku auntie has had her hand up, so I will ask.
I don't have answer to Kalyani's question.
Yes.
But I was thinking of Gayatri Mantra. That is to enlighten our intellect, right? Chanting Gayatri Mantra. Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha.
Yes, auntie.
Okay, I just wanted to find out. Thank you. Sorry, Kalyani, I don't have answer to your most suitable questions. I can't give answers. That's only, I don't know, Bhashyam auntie and Sadish, Sai Sadish can give you.
Auntie, you shouldn't say you're not capable.
He caught you, Sakhuji.
Yes,
Andy,
that's
you
it.
are a clever girl.
Don't say less, you know less. I'm just joking.
Yes, Sister Vani, please go ahead.
No, I was just going to say the confidence in self is the bigger uppercase as written there. So it's the bigger self. That's the God himself. That's what. So it's not just confidence in you. It's also the confidence in the bigger self.
Yeah.
Thank you, sisters. Thank you.
Swami is equating confidence in oneself is losing having confidence in the self. It involves loss of faith in God himself if you don't have the confidence in you.
So there's nothing wrong with saying that my mind and body may be weak or not having confidence in the mind and body. Is there anything wrong with saying that?
Yeah, physically sometimes we feel weak.
See, it's when you're feeling weak and tired, there's coffee always. So again, coffee given by God, that's the way. So yes, Sister Shilpa.
Sairam, when we are feeling lack of confidence, Swami will give you a confidence, because this is my experience. When Uncle-ji told me to take care of meetings, I was very anxious and I was worried that I don't know anything, and I'm not perfect at the language, or I don't have enough knowledge. But when I started leading the meetings, confidence came itself because this is Swami's work and it is his responsibility to lead us. That you won't feel alone. When you feel like, if you think that this is Swami's work and Swami is doing for you, doership, knowership, if we give all ships to him, where is the question of lack of confidence? Saira.
Thank you very much, sister. Thank you very much.
Can you mute it, please?
See, the having confidence only in the small self means also not having faith in God, because we think we are doing it. You know, so I think the little confidence in our little self should come along with total confidence in the big S, as Sister Vani said and Sister Shilpa said. See, as long as we have not forgotten that God is not with us, we will not lack in confidence, because we think even if I can't, God is going to be doing it. So I think that's what Swami is referring to. So when we feel this cannot happen, that means we have also dissociated ourselves from God. And then only we run into problems. So because our small confidence should be always tied to the big S.
So sorry, I've nodded. So that means that we should never feel, even if we feel that our mind and body is weak, then that's also like we're betraying God because God is behind that, right? Or is it?
See, you have said mind and body are weak. Body, yes, generally becomes weak, but mind is never weak, because that's always overpowering us. So maybe our self forgets that it's stronger than the mind. You know, the mind, the strength of, actually the mind is always busy with something. It is just we become powerless because of the mind. I think that's what happens to us. So yes, we will say my mind is weak. Actually, then Swami will say, "Where? Show me the mind." Actually, somebody asked Swami, "My mind is." Swami said, "Show me. I will put a stop to it." So the mind is always very capable or powerful. It it runs from here to there. I think that's the problem, in that we are unable to contain the mind. But I think no harm in saying, "Swami, Swami, my mind. My mind is not allowing me to do that." I think that's no harm. But at least as long as we tell that to Swami, it's okay. Like that's what Arjuna did. The Arjuna Vishada Yoga is all about that. He cried, but he cried to Krishna, because he always had the confidence that the Krishna is there next to him. Okay, so even though he lacked the smallest confidence, the big S lifted him up, because he was connected to the big S. And he never lost the confidence in the big S. I think that's what I think other sisters have nicely explained this. So I'm just paraphrasing what they were saying. Yes, Sairam sister Shilpa, your hand is up. You would like to share something?
It's full.
Okay, thank you, sister. So I think it's 4:34.
Yeah.
We will close for today and we'll again meet next week. I'm full of confidence, I guess. Sairam, that's let's close with Samastaloka prayers. Om Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sairam, everyone.
Sairam, Sairam.
Sairam.